This channel is going to be about beauty. This channel is going to be about my health experiences and everything that's wrong, and just a little bit of everything. I got really sick, really sick 4 or 5 years ago, and almost died actually. And so my purpose of this video, my videos from here on out, are to document my life, because I feel like I have a second shot at life, and I just want to document every part of it. And I feel like I should share my journey with you all, because if it can save one person from going through what I went through, then it's worth it. So I hope you will enjoy this video. I hope you'll subscribe. I'm going to have beauty. I'm going to have vlogs, lifestyle vlogs. I'm a tomboy / girly girl. I'm both, actually. So it's really going to have just a lot of fun stuff on here. But I want to start this video, my videos period, off by my journey, because I know God has it on my heart to share it. And it's very important to me and my family. So that's where we're going to start. Thank you again for just being here, listening to my story. And I don't know where this channel is going to go from here. If it'll go anywhere, but I am looking for a community of friends, and I have a big heart. I'm the biggest empath you will ever meet. I love everybody easily, and that's just who I am. So anyway, I hope you will follow along my journey, and we grow together, and I am excited. So thank you for being here. I'm so nervous about being in front of the camera, guys. I hate the camera, but God has put this on my heart to do this. Anyway, okay, here we go. The start of this story begins 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, I guess. I was at the peak of my photography career. A lot of you know that I got really good at my photography, and I actually went a long ways and was traveling the world, shooting weddings, and you name it, I was doing it. I started getting really sick. My skin started burning. We just didn't know what was wrong. Doctors, some that I went to, thought it was autoimmune in the beginning. They were just like, it seems autoimmune to me. And so we were searching. We were searching fibromyalgia. We were searching Lyme disease. I was just so sick, so fatigued. And I had visited a couple of doctors in Fort Worth, Texas, and I had a doctor tell me I had fibromyalgia, and that I also had suspected lupus. So this was around March of 2017. Yeah, it was right at March. And right after that is when everything just started going to nowhere. Again, I want to say that everybody's experiences are different. So don't take mine and think, oh my gosh, it's going to be the same way. Because everybody's experiences are different. But yeah, I was getting really sick. Went and seen the rheumatologist that I had in Fort Worth, and she said, you know what, I think you have lupus. She tested me. I only had one positive ANA test, a diagnostic test, that was positive. And so we kind of thought maybe at that time. Okay, so I seen my rheumatologist in Fort Worth, Texas, March 2017. I was beginning to have these odd symptoms, fatigue, my skin was burning, so sick. I didn't want to do anything, depression, anxiety. It was absolutely horrible. So she had diagnosed me with suspected lupus. So we were still in the process of testing. Okay. So I started Plaquenil. And in the beginning with Plaquenil, I started feeling better. Um, I was on 400 milligrams a day, and my skin stopped burning a little bit. And I was actually feeling a little better, so I was like, okay, we're on the right track. And then came April 2017. I started having this massive swelling on the left side of my face. My skin would just start burning so bad, um, horribly burning. But my face swelled up so big. I had no tooth infection, no nothing. We had no idea what was causing it. I will insert a picture here, and show you what my face looked like there. It was awful. And I went to my family doctor, a local family doctor, and they had no idea what was going on. They were like, there's no infection, we have no clue. So they put me on antibiotics, sent me home, and I took those antibiotics for about 2 weeks, I guess, is how long it took me. And after those 2 weeks, I was worse. Nothing was better. I was getting sicker and sicker. So I went back to the doctor, and they gave me a stronger antibiotic, zinc or something like that, but it was really, really strong. They also put me on a low dose of steroids. And so I go back home, and I take those for 2 weeks. And again, I start looking and feeling sicker and sicker, to where one day I got so sick, I told Blake, I said, take me to the hospital. I'm unwell. Something is not right. So he took me to the ER, and they were like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. But there was a doctor, Dr. Ballou in Granbury, who we happened to get in to see. He's an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and we actually got in to see him really quick that same day. And he looked me over, and he looked at my files and things, and he was like, your blood pressure's bad. You can tell by looking at you, you're very sick. He said, at this point, if you were related to me, I would go to Fort Worth ER. I would go to the emergency room. You know, I know this small town hospital is good for some things, but obviously there's something wrong. And obviously this hospital's not finding out what it is. So hubby's like, okay, we're going. We're going to the ER. We immediately go up to the ER in Fort Worth, and they got me back pretty fast because my blood pressure was tanking. Oh no, actually it wasn't tanking, it was sky high. And also, my heartbeat was like 130 beats a minute. When I say I was sick, I was so sick. So they were like, okay, we're going to do some scans, we're going to do blood work, and we're going to see what's going on, and we'll go from there. So they come back in about an hour, and he was like, you know, it's strange. He said that, you know, your blood work is showing that you're a little sepsis. Nothing dangerous, but you're a little septic. Not sepsis. You're septic a little bit. And he goes, but I really don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. He goes, I do not know if this is some kind of lupus flare or what's going on. He goes, but it's something, so we're going to admit you, and we're going to see if we can figure this out. So we got admitted that day, and I was like, thank God, they're going to figure out what's going on. Thank you, Jesus. And so the test began, and I began to get sicker and sicker. I realized the problem. It was Easter. There was no real specialist available to me. I had great insurance, but there was no specialist available. So he was the actual hospitalist in the ER. He worked the ER and upstairs, his patients. And he was like, I can't get anybody to come in, but I'm going to do the best I can. And I had faith in him. He was a super nice guy. And so he continued to do tests, and by day 2, he came in the room and he told me, he came in the room and he was like, okay, we know at least that you're in adrenal crisis. Your adrenals are not working properly. I had no idea what that meant. I was like, what? And how? Didn't understand. So he was like, I'm still trying to get specialists in here to see you, but, we're going to continue these antibiotics. We're going to continue the steroids and continue to test and all these things. Continued to treat me with those steroids and the antibiotics and all the things. And I continued to just get worse. I felt worse. He thought I was doing better, My blood pressure was more stabilized and my heart rate was more stabilized, but I just did not feel well. So I just continued to get sicker. I ended up getting a blood clot while I was there. They treated that. 10 days later, I actually feel sicker, but yet he's telling me, okay, you are stable, you're good to go home, but we're going to get you into some more specialists. Well, we're going to get you into specialists, and we're going to go and you're going to find out what's going on. We're going to find out what's going on. So I was like, okay, okay. So I was like, I can hold out till I get into the doctor. So he referred me to an endocrinologist in Burleson named Dr. Patel. And here it comes. We have no openings for you for 2 months. Okay? Are you sure? Can you put me on the cancellation list? Please. And they're like, we can put you on one, but rarely anybody comes in with that. We don't usually have any cancellations. So around, I guess, 3 more weeks into it, I'm sick. I'm so sick. I cannot lift my head off the bed. My husband's already having to shower me. I don't feel like eating. I was just so sick. I didn't even want to brush my hair. Nothing. I was so sick. And I felt like nobody was hearing me. I had my husband take me to the ER a couple of times in Granbury, a small town, just trying to think, I know something's not right. I could tell with my body something was right. They got me stabilized again, my same thing, blood pressure, heart rate, and all that. They would get me stabilized, send me back home. There was a couple of times my blood pressure was like 60/30. But at this time, I was just feeling like, what's the use? I felt like no one was helping me. 60/30, and my husband would even call and say, listen, her blood pressure, it's Lisa Blevins again. Her blood pressure is 60/30. Well, she's fine. She's going to be fine. You just need to get in to see that specialist. So I'd actually call up there and be like, hey, I was in the ER. My blood pressure's really bad. Can you please get me in sooner? And I felt like I was dying. That's how bad I felt. And so, still, nobody would get me in. Nobody would get me in. I called back up to the hospital to talk to the hospitalist, Dr. Middleton, who prescribed me the medications to hold me over for 2 months. Mentally, I felt like I was checked out. So I continued to get even sicker. My body began to swell. By those 2 months that I had to wait to see my endocrinologist. I put on 85 pounds. My body was swollen up so much. My skin right here, along this line right here, busted open. I was so sick. I was so sick and nobody was listening, but yet it was time, thank God, to see my specialist. We got to that appointment that day, and my husband is literally carrying me inside. I couldn't even sit up in the chair. I had to lay down on the table. I'm in tears. Tears. I literally felt like I was dying. When Dr. Patel walked in that room, he looked at me, and I'm crying. I'm bawling. And he looked at me and he went, "Oh my God, you have Cushing's disease." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yes, I can tell by looking at you. You have Cushing's." And he said, "Let's get some blood work and we'll go from there." I was just belligerently crying because I had a name. Like somebody was listening to me, somebody was going to help me. And so that's what he did. But I want to back up so I can tell you guys exactly what Cushing's is. I'm going to read here so I don't have a lot of cognitive issues and stuff, and we'll get to all the things that I'm left with from this illness that I deal with today, but it doesn't stop me. I'm strong and determined, and I'm going to live this life that God gave me. So, Cushing's disease. Okay, Cushing's disease occurs when a pituitary edema, a tumor, a non-cancerous tumor, actually most of the time it's not cancerous. It is located in a pea-sized pituitary gland that sits at the base of our brain. So usually it's from some sort of hormone secreting tumor that you have in your brain. In my situation though, mine came from basically overdosing me with steroids. Come to find out, the doctor was giving me like 90 milligrams, grams, however you say it, of steroids daily. So I had steroid-induced Cushing's at this point. So that's pretty much Cushing's disease. And the most visual factors you can usually tell when someone has Cushing's, they will have a large buffalo hump on their back. Insert picture here. You can't miss it. Look how bad this is. You swell humongously. You get so big. I wasn't even eating. There's so much fluids and just, I was so big. So big so that I didn't even know who I was when I looked in the mirror. And I'm going to insert these pictures here. Do you guys see how bad this is? This is the way I was looking when people were telling me, "Nothing's wrong with you. You're fine. You're just fine. All your blood work's fine. You're fine." I was not fine. But yeah, in my instance, it was steroid-induced overdose of steroids. He gave me way too many. So, and that was just in 2 months' time. So, a lot of this story I mainly want to tell because I do not want anybody to go through this. No one. Not even my worst enemy. I don't have a lot. I don't have any actually, but I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's horrible. And lucky enough, I'm lucky enough at that time that he knew instantly what was wrong. But wait, it gets way worse. So, Dr. Patel explains to me that the most important thing about Cushing's disease is to get your potassium and your sodium leveled out. Because, yeah, it can be very, very dangerous. So that was our number one goal, to get that stabilized. And so that's what we did. He gave me some medications and I took those. And the thing with steroid-induced Cushing's is you've either been on it a long, long time or you've been on a high dose pretty quickly. And the thing is, you cannot just stop your steroids. No, do not. Don't ever do that. If I can express that to you enough, do not just stop taking your steroids. You have to wean off. And in my case, I just knew this was going to be like a week fix and I was going to feel better. No. It took 7 months of slowly tapering off those steroids. And I was like, okay, steroids, I'm going to get off, I'm going to wean off these meds. My life's going to start picking back up and it's going to go back to what it was. So, we start weaning also off the steroids, and slowly but surely, I'm still having these cramps in my back, cramped necks, burning in my skin, cramps in my jaws. And I was like, what is going on? Why is this happening? And my doctor was telling me, it's part of Cushing's. It's just part of it. So as we were tapering and tapering and tapering, 7 months later, I finally took my last steroid pill. I had dropped actually 20 pounds in the first month. I weighed 242. Never been bigger than 155 my whole entire life. And I gained a little bit of weight when I was feeling bad in the beginning when we were searching for lupus and this, that, and the other. And so I gained a little bit of weight. And but not much. And so I did lose the first month off of tapering the steroids. I dropped 20 pounds instantly. And so by the 7 months I was off the steroids and, I was still only 20 pounds down, miserable. And this was me at 222 right here. Still just at 222, still swelling, still arm, pain and burning, face swelling, burning, my eyes, they still are really bad, but we'll get to that. And so what I didn't realize is that in the next few months, I would realize how much damage was done. And it was bad, 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 bad. How we began to start finding out that Cushing's tore up my body pretty bad. Not just what you can see on the outside, inside. I was having some severe leg pain on my shin and knee area. They thought it was another blood clot. I did skip a few things, and I'll go over those things as you guys have questions. But I ended up getting 2 more blood clots. They don't know why. I just did. But anyway, they thought it was a blood clot, so they were like, we need to go in and get an MRI scan. We really need to know what's going on. So I went in for the MRI, and I was like, okay, maybe just another blood clot. A couple days later, my doctor called me, and he was like, Lisa, you have what's called a vascular necrosis. And I was like, what does that mean? And he explained to me what that means, and I'm going to read for you guys what that means. Technically, it's bone death, it means your bones are dying, have died. It's awful. But a vascular necrosis is the death of bone tissue due to the lack of blood supply. It's associated with long-term steroid use and You can also get it by drinking too much alcohol. I drink no alcohol at all. It's most common in people certain ages you can get it. It's a rare disorder. And you can get it from trauma, injuries, hip dislocation, fractures, things like this. But the number one thing I got it from, steroid use. And so then it started it started the beginning of realizing just what Cushing's done to me. He sent me to a orthopedic surgeon because it was pretty bad. And so when I seen the orthopedic surgeon, he seen how, he went over the scans and everything, and he's like, you have a hole in your kneecap, and in your shin, that bone is basically, a lot of it's just dead. And so he was like, we can do surgery on that. He goes, but you've been really, really sick, He goes, I'm kind of leery about going in right now. And so we talked about what had happened, my Cushing's and everything. And so he said, you know what, let's get some pictures of other joints and things in your body. And so that's what we did. He set me up with a full body scan so we could tell, where I may have vascular necrosis and just how bad it was and stuff like that. And come to find out, my vascular necrosis is in my jaw, both shoulders, elbows, both hips, both femur bones, both knees, both shins, ankles, and feet, all over my body. So when I was having those cramps that I thought was cramps in my bed, where I was feeling pain I'd never felt before, my bones were not getting blood. So I have a lot of dead bone all over my body. And when I tell you, it's the most excruciating pain. I've had 3 kids, and it's the most excruciating pain I've ever been through. Maybe someone else out there experiences something different, but mine is a lot. And so they sent me to UT in Dallas, and they talked about sending me to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota because no one around here in Texas, at least, does multiple joints. As you know, more orthopedic surgeons work on a specialty of joint, usually. So they were going to send me to Minnesota. So during this time, I was still feeling sick. I still could not lose weight. I still had this huge buffalo hump. You can see in these pictures, I was still swollen. I didn't look like myself, which I knew I was sick for a while. I knew it, bad sick, so I knew it was going to take time to get better. But I just still felt like I had Cushing's. I kept telling my husband. And mind you, at this point, from the beginning of Cushing's till even this point, a little over a year at this point, I'm bedridden. My husband's doing everything for me. I lost all my hair. I lost half of my teeth, broke off. Gained the 85 pounds. It tore me up. So at this point, I'm still feeling like I have Cushing's. I'm almost swearing I still have Cushing's. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to see a rheumatologist at UT. So, because I'm still feeling bad, and also I'm going to see an endocrinologist at UT. I'm not messing around at all with any doctors this time. I want the best of the best, and thankfully my insurance covers me wherever I go. So, I got in to see Dr. Davila with UT at Southwest in Dallas, and I also got in to see Dr. Mafakari. And he's the endocrinologist there, and they're both absolutely amazing. If you're ever needing a diagnosis and you need a doctor that listens to you, who will not blow you off, who will sit beside you and listen to you, these are your 2 doctors. I went in to see Dr. Davila with my concerns. I told her about my past with the lupus and things like that. And so she did all this testing, and she agreed with the testing that I have unspecified lupus. I've never had any other issues as far as lupus, knock on wood. I do continue to take the 400 milligram Plaquenil daily. If I miss it, we know. But really, it has not cost me nothing compared to this. So then I got to go in to see the endocrinologist, Dr. Mafakari, and the nicest doctor you will ever meet. Bedside manner, like, thank you, Jesus. And so he's sitting there, and by this time, I'm doing my research. I'm researching anything and everything that's related to Cushing's, can be like Cushing's, you name it, I researched it. And I come across growth hormone deficiency. I had never heard of growth hormone deficiency, didn't even know we needed it still as an adult, but we do. And so I went into this doctor and I was like, this is my past, this is what's been going on, you know, been suffering a long time, this is what I want, these are the tests I want, and I think I know what's wrong. And he was like, okay, you know, and as nice as he is, he's so kind, he was just like, that's fine, we can definitely do that testing. We began to do testing, which starts with an IGF-1 test. It's a scale test to kind of get a peek look at your growth hormone levels. And all of your hormone levels, those growth hormone levels, come from your pituitary in your brain. So, sure enough, my doctor calls me and he said, Lisa, your IGF is 29. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, it's really suspicious of a pituitary deficiency. And I'm like, you know, he said it could be a tumor, it could be, you know, we don't know. So he's like, let's get some scans. And when he said scan, I knew immediately 3T. We ain't going with anything else. I know my research. We want a 3T MRI. You guys want a 3T MRI if you're getting this MRI done. And so he did the MRI, and then we went for what's called a glucagon test. It's a test that you go into the clinic, sometimes in the hospital, and they put you in this room and they inject you with glucagon. And for 5 hours, give or take, every 30 minutes they come in and take your blood and get these levels throughout those 5 hours. And so we did all that testing, and just so you know, during that testing, some people get nauseated, some people get the shakes because your blood sugar will drop. But as soon as you have some crackers, you're totally fine. I didn't get nauseated at all. I got really shaky at the very, very end and drank some juice, and I was fine. So super duper easy, not painful in any way. And come to find out, I think the insurance has cut off at 5 below. They may have changed it to 3 below now. But if you're 5 below, you're considered deficient. And sometimes insurances will accept 3 below. But don't quote me on that. It's one of the two. I hear one sometimes and then the other sometimes. So mine was 0.14. So actually, I was like producing 0 growth hormone in my brain. So I felt like, thank you, God. Another diagnosis. Thank you, God. So I went back in and talked to my doctor, and he was like, you've definitely got hormone deficiency. And we went over what that was all about, how important it is to have that. It's part of your engine, guys. You need it. And I'm going to insert some pictures here, like I was really, really swollen still, the buffalo hump, and just fatigued. Let me give you some real symptoms of adult growth hormone deficiency. And everybody's symptoms can be different. Okay, here are some of the biggest symptoms you'll have with growth hormone deficiency. I had a lot of these, and I'll tell you which ones I did have. Body composition, increased body fat, particular central tummy area. Yes, it was horrible. I looked pregnant. My whole stomach was just round all the way around. Also, cardiovascular and metabolism, decreased sweating, poor, sweating and cooling your body off, all that stuff. My heart stayed pretty good. We didn't really have any issues with that, except heart rate. I did sometimes have a fluctuating increase of heart rate. Metabolism, absolutely poop. It was horrible. I've never been a big eater. I've never been a big person. But ever since this cushion, baby, it's hard, especially when going through menopause. And we'll get through that on another video. But anyway, bones, decreased bone density, quality of life, depression, anxiety. I had that. Depression, anxiety, horrible. No motivation. I had family members who did not understand why I couldn't go to events, why I couldn't do anything. I was so traumatized about everything that had happened, and I still felt so sick. At this time, this was just 2 years ago, I got my growth hormone deficiency diagnosis. So I had the Cushing's 2 years, and then I was fighting for the adult growth hormone. So a total of 4 years, I was bedridden. Lost my driver's license. Again, I lost all my hair, teeth, and talk about losing your vanity. You do. My doctor was like, this is great. This explains the reason you can't lose weight, And I was documenting everything I was eating and exercising and all this stuff, and could not lose a pound. Still sitting at 222. I didn't even know who I was looking at in the mirror. It was horrible. And so he went over what you do for that, which is a daily injection of growth hormone. And I was like, okay, whatever we need to do, let's do it. And so he sent in my prescription, and I'm with United Healthcare, and they use, for specialty pharmacies, they use Optum. So I was so excited this week. I was like, I'm about to start getting my life back. And I got the call it was actually the next week. And it was someone from Optum, and they were like, we're sorry to inform you, we don't cover that here in Texas. Your insurance just is not going to cover it. But I need it. I'm sorry, man. It's not going to cover it. When I got off that phone, I had the biggest meltdown. When I got off that phone, I had the biggest meltdown ever. I was like, why? Why is this happening? So, again, I did my research, and I was like, there's got to be help out there. And I started Googling, and the first thing I found was studies, clinical trials. I was desperate. I was like, I'm in bed anyway. I've lost basically my family because I can't do anything, and we would tell people, we're coming. And then sure enough, if I got up, breaking out into cold sweats, throwing up, cramps still, bone pain, I could not walk out the door. And understandably, family would get upset, but I couldn't help it. Not only physically, mentally, I was done. I believe I had a breakdown. I was just done. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to get out of the bed. I would eat in the bed, do everything in the bed. My husband would give me a shower, brush my hair, put me back in the bed. We even brought a physical therapist in, but I couldn't set up to do anything. So anyway, long story short, the next day I called UT and I got hold of my doctor and I was like, can you give me a call back? And he called me back and I was like, are there any kind of studies or anything like that, trials? And he was like, you know what? Let me check in on that for you. And I was like, okay. So the very next day, I'm not even joking you, the very next day, hi, this is Dr. Hamidi. We are with a clinical trial team. We are just starting up our very first growth hormone deficiency trial. It's based out of Germany, but we are actually, this branch here is doing it for the very first time. And you're actually our very first person to call for this study. I was like, God, are you serious? Thank you, God. I still get emotional because I fear that if I'd have never got my medicine, I don't know what would happen. So she did tell me at that time, she was like, I'm going to be upfront with you. It's hard to get into the study because you've got to somewhat be pretty healthy. Like, you can have some things wrong, but no heart disease, no diabetes, nothing like that. And she was like, we have to put you through extensive eye testing studies or testing, not studies. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was ready to do whatever. So, and she told me what day to come in. It was going to be all day testing. So we went in that day. I absolutely fell in love with Dr. Hamidi the very first day I met her. And her assistant, Nabi. Hey guys, if you're watching this, I love you so much. And you guys saved my life. And so we went over all the paperwork. That took half of the day. And also I found out, of course, that this is totally placebo, into where the computer generates and spits out what you get. So at this point, I didn't even know if I was going to get medicine, placebo, or what. In my mind, I'm feeling like, you know what? Something's happening, so go with it. I'm still praying to God. I'm trusting in Him. And she was like, so, we'll get these test results back and then we will go from there. We will go from there. And so it wasn't but 3-4 days, I guess, she called me. And when I tell you, I was like stiff as a board. She called and she said, Lisa, I'm so sorry. I just went to bawling again. I was crying. She says, I'm so sorry, but one of your tests came back bad. And I'm like, what? What one? She said, it's your thyroid. And I was like, okay. And she said, let me get with the team. Let's get, let me send your blood work over there and all of that and see. But as right now, it is an issue. So she got with the team in the next few days and she got back to me and she said, the group has decided, they've heard your story as well, and the group has decided that we're going to give you some levothyroxine thyroid medication and see how your thyroid does for a month. And then if it does good, then we'll add you to the team. Long story short, they gave me the thyroid medicine. In a month, my thyroid was amazing. That was another thing, though, hypothyroidism I got diagnosed with. That was putting my weight on, too. So after that month of taking the thyroid medicine, I went into my first appointment and a lot more talking and things like that. And she said, well, I want to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay. And she sat down in front of me and she said, just so happens the computer spit out that you are going to get the real medication. you gotta forgive me because I am such an emotional person. I'm so emotional. I started bawling again. I was like, the actual medication? And she was like, yes, you're gonna be our control panel. So the study was gonna be 1 year long. And so she my medication and everything was there, and we went over all of that. We learned how to do it and just a bunch of information. And she said, I'm going to start you on point 3, and you're going to come in every 2 weeks for the first month, and we're going to do lots of blood work, EKGs every time, weight every time, all the things. And so Blake and I, after that appointment, we came home. I'm hanging by a thread by this time, but I still have hope because of the good man upstairs. So the first month on my medication, I think I lost 15 pounds the first month. And then, I started just noticing little by little. I started feeling better. I started moving around more. I started getting up and eating. And the big thing for me that I noticed instantly with growth hormone is my depression and anxiety. I had absolutely no motivation whatsoever, none, to do anything. And that's the first thing I started noticing. I wanted to get up. I wanted to put on a little makeup. I wanted to brush my hair and fix it. And then I was getting stronger and stronger. And I started going to the store, riding to the store, and riding to go through. I wasn't ready to go in and eat. I wasn't that strong. And this was during COVID as well, so it was pretty, fine time anyway to be at home. But we'd go through drive-thrus and stuff, and I felt good enough to do that, and that was huge for me. I was like, look at me go, look at me go. So as my body continued to heal and do better and better, I just kept getting stronger and stronger. And I started my depression completely gone. It's never been gone in the 53 years, at the time, 51 years. Anxiety, depression, bad depression, anxiety. But it started lifting, guys. It started lifting. I started feeling better. When I say feeling better, I actually started feeling normal, like a normal human being. I just was getting my life back. I was just like feeling better and better. So about 9 months into the growth hormone treatment, I was feeling pretty amazing. And at that point, after 9 months, I lost 42 pounds. 42 pounds. And at this point, I really wasn't even trying that much. I was just going back to how I ate before, which was not a whole bunch. I'm more like a grazer. I don't eat a lot at one time. And so by that 9 months, I had lost all that weight, was feeling great. And before I knew it, it was time for the trial to be over. They said it was a year long, so we were just about coming up on that time. And I was so worried because I was like, here I'm taking this medication that to me, it feels life-saving. I mean, just like life or death. And I knew my insurance had already told me I'm paying $1,100 a month just for me on insurance. $10,000 deductible, $15,000 deductible. We are not rich. There wasn't no way. I didn't know what I was going to do. So by that year was up, it was time, And so I went to see my endocrinologist. She wanted me to come back in and talk and everything because we knew the end was coming up. And when I went in and sat down, she sat down again and she was like, well, guess what? And I was like, what? And she was like, the team has invited you for another year. Oh my God, I lost it again. I was bawling and so happy, so thankful to God for everything He's gotten me through. So they invited me for another year, and I continued to get stronger and stronger. And I lost well, altogether, I weigh 183 now, so 60 pounds almost. I'm still a long ways off, guys. I'm doing keto right now, but that's a whole nother video. And so by that next year, I'm down 60 something pounds. I'm feeling amazing. I'm going fishing. I've been going in this last year. Last October, I just completed my last year with the trial. And, no, not last time. I take that back. It was May. It was May. Yeah, they give me medicine all the way till May. And I had lost to 62 pounds. And so I knew I was going to be in the fight to get my medication. And I'd already been doing research and all this stuff. So what happened was I did end up going this last May of 2023 till mid-July without my medication. I went right back into the bed, sick again, until again back in bed feeling awful, not wanting to do anything. Depression in that little of time came back. And what took so long was I had to go see my doctor, Dr. Mafakari, who treats me with my regular endocrinologist stuff. Dr. Hamidi is my trial team endocrinologist. And so I had to go see him, which I hadn't seen him because I'd been in the trial. And so I went to see him. He had all my paperwork there, and he had seen me last at 230 something pounds. And I walk in at 183 pounds, and he's like looking over my files, and he's like, wow. And he was like, this has been amazing for you, hasn't it? And I was like, life-changing. And we talked forever, and he couldn't believe it and all of this stuff. And he was like, well, we're going to send this prescription in. And not only that, I'm going to send all these files to your insurance and all the pictures we have, everything. And I was like, okay. So that's when we go back, and we're waiting these months with this time without it. For some reason, it takes a while to get everything going with the insurance. You guys know. So we waited, and then I had messaged my doctor's office that day, and she said, I talked to the lady in the office, and she said, I tried to call you yesterday. You got approved. I was like, what? God, again. I was probably crying that time too. And so I got approved, and so I was so excited, and everything. And so they sent it in, and then my insurance called me and was like, with copay and everything, it was going to be outrageous. But I don't even think I got sad about it, because I knew there was going to be a way. God had gotten me this far, there's a way. So, and I'd already looked into, there's program assistance and things like that I'd already looked into. So I thought, you know what, if I could just get it down half, we could pull it if we had to not go out to eat or whatever. So I called the Omnitrope. It's called Omnitrope. And I called them and applied for the assistance program, and they work with my insurance to see, they will, figure out how much with your deductible you'll have to pay and all that. So they talked with them and filled out all my stuff, and they were like, well, you definitely are approved for the assistance. So now we had to wait and see what the difference would be with my insurance, what part I would have to pay. So my insurance called me, and no, it was actually Omnitrope that called me, and she was like, we got the information from your insurance, and with all of this stuff, we've done, you're going to pay $0 a month. I was like, what? She was like, yes, $0 a month for your medication. So I was screaming. I was like so excited. Hubby, he was more excited than I was. And so I've been on my growth hormone, back on my growth hormone 1 month. And it took me this whole month, these last few days, I can tell, okay, you're getting your step back, you're getting up. I've been wanting to do this video forever because I truly want to help you guys. And if you have any questions, we'll get to that too. But yeah, Omnitrope, that day I talked to the pharmacist and they had my injections and medication within 2 days at my house. So I do take the injections every day, but they are not painful at all. They're teeny tiny, little bitty needles, and they don't hurt at all. Don't even hardly feel it. So that's it, guys. Yeah. I know I've probably left a lot out. This is my first time in front of a camera really doing any kind of talking. I do have a lot of things that are going to stay with me, but I refuse to let them keep me down. I still need many surgeries. Also, I didn't tell you guys that I have 2 torn rotator cuffs. Tendons on both sides are torn. I still need surgeries. I still need treatments and physical therapy and things for my body. And my weight is definitely still not good in my opinion. Um, I am going through menopause, and I'm going to share with you guys my menopausal experience too, because it has been crazy. So other than that, I'm getting strong again, and I just want to live my life. I want to do everything I can because I know without a doubt God has given me a second chance at life. There's no doubt in my mind. I thought I was going to die. I had to get I had to get therapy from PTSD because I thought I was going to die. And that could be you today. It could be you going through that and not getting answers. I just want to say hang on, hang in there. It's going to come. Do all the research that you can, and then take it to your doctor and tell him exactly what test you want. You've got to push. We have to advocate for ourselves because there's nobody else that's going to do it. We have one earth experience, and it's ours. So guys, I'm going to leave this video here. Again, this is my first time ever filming in front of filming and talking to a camera. It's awkward, but I know God has so much in store for me. I know without a doubt He pulled me through this, and I feel like I want to document everything, every single thing I do from here on out. I want to document it. I hate the camera, but you know what? I don't even care. I know I'm not all that. I know it. I know I'm overweight. I know all those things, but God still can use me to help others from what I went through. And I just want to document everything we do, and I want to share with you guys beauty stuff, vlogs. My husband and I just moved to East Texas in this last 6 months, and we bought a boat, and so I have a lot of content I'm going to be bringing you guys, and I just hope that you will subscribe and come along this journey with me. And I can't wait to meet you guys online and chat and all the things. And also forgive me that I may say things repetitively, and also I might say things several times because my cognitive is not like it used to be. That's a big thing that was affected too. But so if I'm a little dingy, just know my intentions are pure, And so, yeah, I am super excited about this journey, and I know there's things forgetting. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I love you guys, and I know I've not met you, but you're going to hear me say love a lot because I have a big heart. I hope you'll subscribe and stay around, and I will see you next time. Bye.